Good morning and wake up Wenatchee Valley. Along with Steve Hare, I'm Eric Grandstrom here on the NCW Live Channel. Thanks for joining us on this final Friday of the week. And, well, what a difference a day makes as far as our weather is concerned, Steve.
I just don't think the weather knows what it wants to do at this point.
That was quite the storm last night. Some got it worse than others. We'll get you up to date on the flooding. There was some flash flooding up Number 1 Canyon, I guess, last night.
Well, it's just a little bit of runoff, not like we've seen in the past, but I'll tell you what, the basin, and of course Okanagan County continues their onslaught.
We'll get you details on the forecast. Are we expecting more? Well, maybe not quite as much as last night, but we will tell you more about the forecast coming up in just a little bit. It's still going to be fairly warm this weekend, so if you had outdoor plans for the weekend, I don't know what the weather forecast is, but Steve, do you have your hat ready to go? You're going to be up at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning for the royal wedding?
Probably not.
Well, are you normally up at that hour of the day anyway?
Well, I am, but I won't be tuned into that particular station.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will do the deed tomorrow morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, our time.
I guess the big
wall-to-wall television coverage.
Controversy yesterday was that Markle's dad is not going to be attending, so I don't know who's going to walk her down the aisle.
Well, I don't know if it was controversy. He's ill. So.
Well, he's got a heart attack.
Yeah. That's all. We'll talk more about that as we progress here on this final Friday. It is the 18th of May, 2018. Let's take a look at what's happening out our weather window so far this morning, and of course our view courtesy of Localtel's Sky-Fi network of channels. Kind of a
band of showers going through
this morning, about the Wenatchee Valley this morning. Boy, you can just see a little bit of the knob in front of there from Wenatchee Heights, the green of our surrounding hills. And Marion was mentioning that to me last night, as we kind of rednecked it last night. While the storm was going on, we just went outside on the front porch and had a beer and watched the storm.
Well, hey, be careful holding on.
But she says, you got to love the rain because it brings out all the green.
Well, I had a relative that actually killed by a lightning strike in Minnesota. He was sitting in the barn whittling. And lightning hit the knife.
You're kidding?
No. I was saying, so watch out for the beer cans if you're sitting out on the front porch watching
they're
lightning,
aluminum, so I think we're okay about that. All right, let's go to, you're such a downer, Steve. Let's go to camera number 2. This is Orondo Rock looking up the Columbia River towards Orondo.
Is that the rock?
There's a rock in the foreground there. That camera view looking up the Columbia River towards Orondo. You can see a little bit of left on the left-hand side of the screen there. Anyhow, it's kind of a drizzly morning this morning as the showers continue. And what does our forecast say today? I forgot to even look at it. Rain?
In fact, it's pretty much a constant band of rain here.
Okay, pretty good chance of rain. 90% chance.
Yeah, they're looking at measurable levels too.
We're getting that here right now. Let's go to camera number 3 this morning, and we're back up to Lake Wenatchee area. And calm morning this morning, unlike what we had yesterday prior to that storm moving in. Had quite the blustery winds, but right now kind of a calm morning and a wet, damp morning. And if you could listen, if we could just listen carefully, we'd hear the morning birds of Lake Wenatchee as we look towards the White River.
On Golden Pond.
All right, camera number 4 this morning. I'm sure our view is kind of limited. Monument there.
You got my vacation home there in the foreground.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
Okay. I was going to say, it's been visited by several shotgun shells, looks like. But nice and green up there this morning. As you can see, kind of the clouds dropping their weight as they go across the Quincy Plateau there.
Is that a pygmy rabbit I see out there?
No, maybe not. Don't even say that. But again, our forecast today calling for more of the same with rain showers, and it looks like the weekend is going to be pretty wet as well. 65 for the high today, 73 tomorrow, 78 on Sunday. Maybe a hint of sunshine on Sunday as we get ready for the work week, and then we get into the middle of next week, and we might trip 90 degrees for the first time this year. So yeah, enjoy the cool and wet weather now, because we'll be sweating by the end of, or by the middle of next week. As we continue on here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, it is a final Friday. I'm in for Dan Kuntz, who is out and about. He's golfing this weekend. If he's able to get it in, I don't know. I heard Spokane really got the deluge. We've got a lot going on in the world of sports.
Boy, do we ever.
Yeah, boy. We
The
have
juggernaut.
state tournaments are getting underway for baseball, but they're also looking at that weather forecast, and hopefully they're able to get those games in. Dan, in fact, was going to stop by University High School and maybe get a little footage of Wenatchee Panthers game tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. We'll tell you all about that in the world of sports. And how about the Wenatchee Wild? They just continue with this juggernaut season, beating up on Wellington yesterday. We've got the highlights for you coming up in sports. Mike Magnotti with his opinion, and a little bit later on, another candidate, Steve.
That's right, Kyle Mott seeking election to the district court bench here in Chelan County. So we had a chance to talk to him yesterday. We canned that interview, and we've got that for you a little later on. Also, earlier in the week, every couple of weeks, we talk to the Chelan County Commissioners, and we talked to one of them, Doug England, District 3, who has some definite opinions on U.S. Fish and Wildlife plans to bring grizzly bears into the North Cascades. So we'll share that with you too coming up a little bit later.
That ties into our obscure holiday of the day. We've got several on this final Friday. We'll get you the birthdays, get you this day in history. It's all straight ahead here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. As we are 6 minutes past the hour, we'll come back. Steve Hare will have the latest from the local news center coming up, including fire and rain. It's coming up next on the NCW Life channel.
It's the third annual Manson Rat Rod Show, Saturday, May 19th, downtown Manson, with over $850 in cash prizes. Live music from Eclectic Electric. Admission to the public is free. Enter your ratty online at moretomanson.com or join us Friday, May 18th at 3 p.m. for the pre-registration party at Wine Girl Wines and live broadcast from the Quake, presented by Schwab Tires, Wine Girl Wines, Sunset Bar and Grill, Monster Energy Drink, and the Manson Chamber of Commerce.
This is the NCW Life Community Calendar brought to you by Local Tel. The Coulee City Last Stand Rodeo is May 25th to 27th at the Ted Rice Arena. It's a family weekend full of thrills, spills, and an old-fashioned good time. The Wenatchee Valley Farmers Market is every Saturday at Pybus Market from 8 to 1 until October 27th. Eat healthy, eat local, and come support your local growers and producers. For more information, visit ncwlife.com.
And now it's time for your local news update with Steve Hare.
And here are some of the stories we're following on this Friday. It's May 18th. First of all, the first major thunderstorm of the season pummeled parts of north central Washington yesterday with lightning, downpours, and even some flash flooding. In fact, here's a shot of what it looked like up number 2 Canyon Road in Wenatchee. Early yesterday evening as that storm started up. Although there were no reports of damage, there was some minor street flooding here in the Wenatchee area, but no reports of any damage in our area. Different story though in the basin, in the Moses Lake and Ephrata areas. They were underwater, as seen here in this video shared on Facebook by a resident of that area. Storm also prompted a flash flood watch in Okanogan County, where emergency crews have been working feverishly all week to address record high flows on the Okanogan River, and we'll have an update for you on that coming up a little bit later on our evening news to see what kind of success they're having up there in preventing the floodwaters from causing damage up there. Also, a wind-fueled brush fire briefly threatened some structures in the Kashmir area yesterday afternoon before crews were able to douse it. The fire was first reported around 4:15 in the area of Pioneer Avenue and Tigner Road. Now, the 2-alarm blaze rallied 25 firefighters from Chelan County Districts 6, 3, and 1. Officials say the cause is under investigation. Crews were able to limit the fire spread to about an acre of grass and shrubs burning in kind of a swampy area there. No structures were damaged and there were no reports of injuries. Longtime Douglas County prosecutor Steve Clem has announced he will not seek re-election to a 7th term in office. Clem steps down after serving for almost 24 years. He cites several accomplishments under his leadership, such as the development of new personnel policies, leading Douglas County through legislation, creating its own Superior Court judge, successfully implemented and defended the community's vision under the Growth Management Act. So Steve Clem stepping down. Meanwhile, Douglas County Deputy Prosecutor Gordon Edgar says he's ready to climb to the next level at the Waterville Courthouse. Edgar has formally filed as a candidate for the county prosecutor's position to replace the outgoing Steve Clem. Edgar has served under Clem for 23 years, where he says he's earned the respect of judges, attorneys, law enforcement, and witnesses and crime victims. He also served on the Waterville School Board. He's a member of the Lions Club, also a Cub Scout leader, a board member of the Wenatchee Arts Commission, the NCW Allied Arts Council, and the Mission Creek Players. Edgar received his law degree from Northwestern School of Law at Lewis and Clark University in Portland, Oregon. Also, on another front, Chelan County Commissioner District 2 candidate Zachary Miller joined us yesterday on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley to discuss his campaign. The Leavenworth native is running as an independent candidate, says he's a consensus builder with no preconceived agenda.
Well, I think that one of the most powerful things that I can bring is that I don't have an agenda coming into this. There's nothing in my background where I'm coming in where it's one specific issue or it's one piece of the county or the community. I am in this because I love people. I always really have, and I found that public service is one of the most powerful things and meaningful things in my life. And I'm at a place where I'm thinking about my future and where I want to be involved, and I want to be involved with our community in this greater sense, and so I'm looking forward to running.
Miller is among 4 candidates seeking election to the District 2 Commissioner position, being vacated by Keith Gaynor as he seeks a position in the state legislature. You can watch this entire interview on demand on our website at ncwlife.com. Elsewhere, the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society announced yesterday the addition of a new medical director, Dr. Kyla Krysek. Humane Society Executive Director Don Davies says Krysek was her first choice out of several candidates. Prior to appointment to the Humane Society, Krysek served as a shelter vet at SPCA of Texas in Dallas. She's a graduate of Kansas State University, Kansas native, born and raised in the Topeka and Wichita areas. Krysek's addition to the Humane Society comes as Dr. Bradley Crower returns to Kansas State as an assistant clinical professor in shelter medicine. On the real estate front, the average sale price of a home in April here in Wenatchee, it's up almost 20% compared to a year ago. Last month, the average price of a home in the Wenatchee area was over $55,000 higher than a home in April of 2017. The median sales price of a home also continues to climb. A month ago, the median sales price was just under $314,000. Today, almost $40,000 higher than this time this year, or last year. The median sales price has been on a steady increase for the past 5 years. Meanwhile, with a total of 244 active and pending listings and an average of 78 homes sold a month, the Wenatchee real estate area is certainly in a seller's market right now with a 3-month supply of homes. Monthly real estate snapshot provided to us by Pacific Appraisal Associates of Wenatchee. Well, it's time now for NCW Life's Megan McPherson to fill us in on what's happening around the valley this weekend.
Here's a look at what's on tap this weekend around the Wenatchee Valley. Lake Chelan Wine and Jazz Festival is May 17th through May 20th. This 4-day festival offers ticket holders a musical tour through the Lake Chelan Wine Valley. Visit 9 venues, see 15 jazz bands, and taste wonderful wines from the Chelan AVA. Spring barrel tasting takes place during the same weekend. Taste the wines of more than 30 wineries and tasting rooms that represent the Lake Chelan AVA during spring barrel tasting, when winemakers open their doors to the public to taste straight from the barrel. The 13th Annual Literacy Council Spelling Bee fundraiser is at Pybus Market Friday, May 18th from 5:30 to 9. Work with a table of 8 to spell words correctly and advance in a spelling competition for adults after an evening of dinner with wine. Also included are a silent auction, live auction, and a dessert auction supporting free English classes at the Literacy Council of Chelan and Douglas counties. Tickets are $60. Wenatchee Valley Humane Society is hosting a spay and neuter clinic for cats on Saturday, May 19th at the Wenatchee Community Center. The clinic is available to low-income feline owners and includes spay and neuter, rabies, and vaccines. Feral or community cats will be ear-tipped to show that they are altered, vaccinated, and belong in the area which they are located. To register, please contact the Humane Society at 509-662-9577 or visit online at wenatcheehumane.org. Also on Saturday is the NCW Tech and STEM Showcase at Pybus Market from 9 to 1. Join GWADA, Apple STEM Network, and school districts from around NCW for a showcase of how teachers, administrators, students, and businesses are helping integrate technology into the classrooms and their plans for the future. General admission is free and not required, but if you register, you will be entered for a special prize drawing. And finally, stop by the Leavenworth Fest Hall this Sunday as Apple City Roller Derby takes on the Willamette Kidney Thieves for their final bout of the 2018 season. Doors open at 12:30 with the gals taking the track at 1:30. Upper Valley Men will run concessions including beer from Icicle Brewing, with all proceeds benefiting the local nonprofit. Tickets are available at the door or online. Come watch live hard-hitting derby action. For more information on this weekend's events, visit ncwlife.com.
Funny, Eric, how you can work with somebody for so long and butcher their last name.
It's okay, Steve.
Megan McPherson, and I
Yes.
apologize to you, Megan.
She has a T-shirt that says "There's no fear in McPherson."
Ah, well, okay. All right.
There you go.
That teaches me for not reading T-shirts.
That's okay.
Hey, by the way, we thought we'd share with you a few shots in history.
Okay.
Yeah, this was back in 1948. This was taken, I believe, in the Eniat area.
It looks like the Eniat.
And this was during the major flood. This is just as the waters were receding from that flood back in 1948, down near the mouth of the Eniat River. As you can see, the sandbanking there. These pictures provided to us by Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center. You know where this is.
Wow, look at that.
That's the Kashmir Bridge there at Applet's Way.
Goodness.
That was what it looked like in 1948. Of course, this is before the dams were built on the Columbia River here. So kind of interesting. They posted these on Facebook, yes, and you recognize this,
Oh,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
This is what it looked like at the transmitter and studios, I guess, of KPQ
Back
back
in the
then in
day.
1948. They actually had to bring a boat in to get the employees into the building there. But hey, the floodwaters are, pretty close to that area now, aren't they?
They're not quite to the radio towers, but it
It's
certainly
close to that wildlife area there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is closed, by the way.
Right.
A good reminder about that. And there's also a couple of runs. We're going to talk about that in sports coming up this weekend. There's a couple of 5Ks, one at Walla Walla Point Park, one that starts at Pybus. With the problems with the loop trail, it might be kind of changed for the path of those particular
We'll find out.
events. Now, speaking of events of biblical proportions on this date, 38 years ago, Mount St. Helens blew its top.
Where were you? Huh?
I remember exactly where I was. Kat, do we have that video ready to go? Okay, let's watch. This is a time lapse of the mountain itself as it began to erupt. And look at that. I mean, that is a huge mountain. That was one of the tallest mountains in Washington State that lost
half of the slope there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just incredible when you think of the power of nature.
Yeah, 1980, when the mountain blew. Now, you were in California at the time. How old were you when Mount St. Helens blew in 1980?
I was, 31?
Okay.
30, 30, actually 30. I was 30.
Okay.
And I was living on the beach, as a matter of fact, in Southern California. And I woke up and I turned on one of the, major cable news stations, and everything was dark. It was a shot of Yakima. And I said, well, what time is it here? And I didn't know. And then they were saying there was a major eruption in Mount St. Helens. And wow.
I was 10. I don't know how you could be 31 at the time. We were getting ready for my sister's birthday.
Well, I remember because 1980 is when I had a bout of cancer.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, then you would remember that, absolutely. Yeah, we heard a boom. I lived in Cedar Woolley at the time in Western Washington, but it wasn't uncommon to hear booms back then because the jets were constantly going overhead with sonic booms. And so we just thought it was a sleepy Sunday morning. We thought, oh, just another sonic boom.
Boy.
Not so much. Yeah, I remember I worked in the Tri-Cities in radio for a time, and talking with the staff that was at the radio station at that point. It was a gorgeous sunny Sunday morning on that day in 1980 in the Tri-Cities and most of Eastern Washington, and then suddenly it was not.
Right.
And this just
The dust and
giant
the
cloud
ash.
cover
Oh, yeah.
suddenly erupted and came their way and dumped, a lot of Mount
lot
St.
of
Helens
ash.
all over eastern Washington.
A lot of people had to clean off their cars here in the Wenatchee area.
Oh, yeah. And the ash cloud reached around the world
Yeah, it did.
for what happened on this date back in 1980.
But if you look at the pictures there now and how it's recovered since.
Oh, I know. And that
Totally
was
rehabilitated.
the worry, too, was about wildlife and everything else that would not exist at all afterwards. The elk herds have rebounded magnificently. The topography has rebounded. The ash, actually, they found was it helped with reforestation, with growth and everything. I got a chance from the Weyerhaeuser folks back in early 1990s to fly on a helicopter and land on the crater of Mount St. Helens.
No kidding.
Oh, you talk about an experience.
Yeah, I bet.
And at that time, we flew over, which would have been about probably 12 years after the eruption. We flew over a lot of Weyerhaeuser's ground that blew over, the forest that just blew over. It looked like you took a giant comb and just combed it all down.
Oh, my.
These giant trees that were just flattened by the force of that wind and everything else that happened. Yeah, it was just incredible. Hey, I brought some donuts today because, it's Friday and we got to have some extra sustenance here.
Oh, my gosh.
Some, beautiful maple bars. This is from the folks at Glaze, and I'll tell you, I don't know of any other busier place in the mornings at 6 o'clock in the morning. I went in there, I couldn't even find a parking place, first of all. They've got 8 people feverishly working behind the counter. So there
They're
you go.
doing quite well. As a matter of fact, I
You can
like
sugar
their,
up while you...
those blueberry fritters are pretty good too.
Oh, I'm telling you. And you just walk, you don't even have to walk in the place. You park your rig outside and you go...
Yeah. They're going to need car hops before you know it.
Absolutely. So anyway, thanks to the folks at Glaze for supplying us some extra sugar this morning. It's 22 past the hour. We have a lot of sports to get to, including the Wenatchee Wild continuing a magical postseason run right up to maybe an RBC Cup championship. We'll tell you more about that coming up.
Also, I want to remind people that if they miss out on the news today, they can always see it on demand. We have our newscast coming up later at 5 o'clock. And of course, you can always contact us. Quite easy, any number of ways. ncwlife.com through our website. On Facebook and Twitter, you can talk to us. Also, email us at the address news@ncwlife.com. And as always, our breaking news hotline available to you at 888-NCWL.
And keep checking our Facebook page because we're constantly posting items, including that fire yesterday afternoon, on our Facebook page as well. So for breaking news, you can check there first and also check us here on TV. We'll come back with the latest in sports on the way next on the NCW Life channel.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life channel.
I'm Eric Grandstrom with NCW Life Sports.
I'm NCW Life News Director Steve Hare.
Catch us on Local Tel Channel 12.
You can watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
Where we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Life channel.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together, we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week, and let's get inspired.
And a good finally Friday morning, 24 minutes past the hour. Eric Grandstrom filling in for Dan Coons here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley as we're at 58 degrees and some showers throughout north central Washington. Let's get a look at sports news, and the Wenatchee Wild remain undefeated in round robin play with a 7-1 win over Wellington on Thursday at the RBC Cup in Chilliwack. Didn't take the Wild long to score. Zach Galamba scored 24 seconds into the contest. August Von Ungeren put Wenatchee up 2-0 on an unassisted goal goal 8 minutes later. Andrew Rinaldi drew the Dukes within one at the 13:59 mark in the first. Sam Hessler scored on a power play goal with just 3 seconds left in the first. Wenatchee is up 3-1 at that point and just put the gas on from there. They would add on in the second. Cooper Zek, Galambos, and Von Ungren scored goals to make it a 6-1 contest. Wenatchee got one more late in the third from a reserve player who hardly gets playing time. It was awesome to see that. Drake Usher got into the scoring column. Highlights we go, courtesy of Hockey TV, and on the call, Bonnie DeBartolo and Warren Andrews.
The virtue of the final change as the Wild have the puck in the attacking zone. Galambos shot from the point and he scores. 24 seconds in, just like that, it's 1-0 Wild. Here's the centering feed in front. Look out, bat out of midair, and they score. Maybe not what the doctor had ordered on that play, but it was a fortuitous bounce. Cutting to the front of the net. Maybe a try for a cross-seam pass, but Von Ungern, as we take a look at the replay here, the left-handed shot wanted to center it, but the sprawling defenseman may have hit him, and actually did, and he came back with now a stretch pass. Here's a breakaway. Andrew Rinaldi, he shoots, he scores. Well, Andrew Rinaldi gets in behind the Wild defense. Nobody knew he was there. And just like that, Wellington has some life late here in the first period. It's 2-1 Wild. Right hash marks, Jasper Weatherby moves in. He shoots, rebound, and they score. Sam Hessler, Johnny on the spot. And the Wild, with 3 seconds left in the period, on a power play goal, have regained their 2-goal lead. It's 3-1. Now it's dug loose. Weatherby feeds Zek, moves in. Zek shoots, he scores. I didn't think he got all the wood he wanted on that, but Cooper Zek beats Capriotti on the blocker side, and the Wild have taken a commanding lead now. It's 4-1. Hessler lost his stick in the Wenatchee ice. Wild come out now. Josh Arnold, shot there by Galambos, scores. Tyler Richardson was caught deep in his crease. A quick release by Zach Galambos. Inside the final minute of play, backhanded by Drake Usher, he scores.
You rarely mention his name, and once again, one of the supporting cast become a star.
Couple of seconds to go as Arnold has the puck in the Wellington zone. And that is going to do it. In convincing fashion, the Wenatchee Wild win 7-1 and clinch the hammer in the RBC Cup standings. They will get the choice of whether they want to play at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday or the 7 p.m. game. And if I had to guess, it'll likely be a 2 o'clock start.
And he was correct in his guess. They did pick the 2 o'clock start on Saturday, and they'll play the same team again, Wellington, on Saturday in the semifinals at 2 o'clock. As we get the latest from the RBC Cup, Chilliwack earned the number 2 seed by downing Steinbach last night 4-1. The Chiefs will face Ottawa, the number 3 seed, in Saturday's other semifinal game. That'll be Saturday night at 7 o'clock. The winners of the 2 Saturday games will play for the RBC Cup Championship 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon. So it's looking really good for the Wenatchee Wild. Let's take a look at the prep schedule for the weekend. First of all, in baseball, 2B state tournament in Yakima this weekend. St. George's will take on Brewster at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. The 1A tournament will be in Moses Lake for Cashmere and Chelan. The Bulldogs will face Natchez Valley at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then Chelan takes on Connell at 1. The winners of those 2 games will play at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Also, the Wenatchee Panthers are on the road at Spokane's University High School for the 4A tournament. They'll play Chiawana tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. That's followed by Moses Lake and Meade at 1. And then the 2 winners of those 2 games will play off in the quarterfinals at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Softball teams are just getting to their district tournaments. Wenatchee hosts West Valley today at 5 at Walla Walla Point Park. The winner of that game will play Eastmont tomorrow in Moses Lake at 1. And then the winner of that game will play Moses Lake for the 4A District Championship tomorrow at 3 in Moses Lake. Also, it's the CTL NEA crossover tomorrow as the Chelan Goats will be at Chewelah for a winner on to state loser out game at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The District 5-6 2B tournament happening at Moses Lake. Very busy place for softball this weekend. Brewster and Tri-Cities. You also have, aside from Brewster, Liberty Bell, Lake Roosevelt all participating in that particular tournament. Gets underway tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Eastmont's in the quarterfinals of the state for a soccer tournament. They'll play in the Apple Bowl tomorrow against the Mount Vernon Bulldogs. That game at 1 o'clock in the afternoon at Lee Bofto Field. We've had quite a few calls asking if we're going to be able to broadcast that. Short notice, not enough staff. Sorry about that. We're not going to be able to broadcast that one this weekend. Also, home stretch for the district tournaments this weekend as well. District 6A 4A track meet moves to West Valley after being at Eastmont yesterday. That gets underway tomorrow morning at 10. And the 1A district tennis tournament for the Caribou Trail League tomorrow at Omak, also starting at 10. Couple of big games for local club teams tomorrow. The Wenatchee Valley Thunder will be at a middle school in fact, Maple Valley to take on Tahoma tomorrow night, 7 o'clock in the quarterfinals of the 4A lacrosse state tournament. Also, it's the state championship opportunity for Schoolhouse Rugby Club. They'll take on Yakima in Tacoma tomorrow morning at 11:30 for the state championship. Best of luck to both of those teams. Well, that's not all going on this weekend. A busy weekend on the calendar has the Raider Rumble men's softball tournament happening at Walla Walla Point Park. There's a fun event for kids tomorrow morning starting at 9 o'clock in the morning at the Eastmont Aquatic Center right across from Eastmont High School. That is a youth bike rodeo. They're going to be giving away a lot of fun stuff, so head on over for that. Take the kids and their bikes. Also, big racing this weekend, and hopefully the weather will hold on for it to get underway on the quarter-mile track at Wenatchee Valley's Super Oval. It's the late model twin 50s, as Super Oval will feature the West Coast Sprint Cars, Thunder Hobby Stocks, Vintage Modifieds, Roadrunners. Gates open at 5 o'clock tomorrow at WVSO. A couple of runs tomorrow as well, start at 9 o'clock in the morning, first of which is at Pybus. It's the Girls on the Run of Columbia Valley. That's a 5K. Also a 5K, it's the Miles for Mia event happening at Walla Walla Point Park. Turning to the Mariners. I know, it's beginning to become a theme here. Julio Iglesias, not the singer, but the baseball player for the Detroit Tigers. He had a two-run single in the 8th. That gave Detroit a come from behind 3-2 win as the Mariners fell at Safeco Field last night. Nick Vincent blew the save, gave up 2 runs, 3 hits in the 8th as the Mariners fall by that final of 3-2. Guillermo Heredia was the hitting star for the Mariners, going 3 for 4 with an RBI. Seattle batters struck out 14 times in the game. Come on, boys. Get the wood on the ball. They'll play Detroit again tonight. It'll be Felix Hernandez night against Michael Fulmer at Safeco Field. Also, Kat, got to remind folks that we've got the big event in roller derby happening this weekend at the Fest Hall. What's the name of that team again? It's the Kidney Killers? The Kidney Thieves. Now, that's happening at the Fest Hall in Leavenworth. That'll be when? Doors open at 12:30. And at 1:30, and that's on Sunday? Yep. Okay, Sunday at Fest Hall in Leavenworth, so going to include our friends with roller derby as well. We're at 33 minutes past the hour. That's sports news here on the NCW Life Channel. By the way, again, follow the website, follow the Facebook page to track what's happening with the Wenatchee Wild, as they'll be in the semifinals tomorrow at 2, and hopefully that championship game coming up on Sunday. All right, as we continue on here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, let's get to the obscure holidays of the day. Now, Dan left me one, but I found some other ones here. It's National Pizza Party Day. Throw a pizza party. Have the gang over. That looks pretty good. I don't know, what's your favorite pizza? Do you like a thin crust, or do you like a big doughy thick crust? Now, you lived in Chicago for quite a while, so Chicago's supposed to have like the best pizza ever, right, Kat? It is the best pizza. So is it a thin? Is it a thick? What is it?
Thick, and the sauce is on the very top.
Sauce is on the top, over the top of the cheese. Is this the one where you fold it in half and eat it that way? Or that's kind of New York style, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, all right. So it's National Pizza Party Day today. It's a lot of things today. It's also National Bike to Work Day. It's National No Dirty Dishes Day. That's the one that Dan left for us, but Dan's single guy, of course, is No Dirty Dish Day. It's National Endangered Species Day, which works right into an interview Steve has with the Chelan County Commissioners later on. It's National NASCAR Day, and if you're in the South, that's basically every day of the year. It's National Visit Your Relatives Day. What else do we have here? Oh, it's National Cheese Souffle Day today. I've never I don't think I've ever eaten a souffle. I remember in cooking class, they want us to make a souffle. I refused. I called in sick that day. It's also National Defense Transportation Day. I don't know. There you go. That's our national days on the obscure holidays as we continue on for this 18th day of May 2018. Let's take a look at what happened on this day in history. 261 years ago, 1756, the 7 Years' War began when Great Britain declared war on France. Great Britain, of course, won that particular battle. 7 Years' War. That's one of those history questions. In fact, I think it's a naturalization question you get to try to become an American citizen. So it began 261 years ago today. 214 years ago, in 1803, the Napoleonic Wars, Great Britain revoked the Treaty of Amiens and declared war on France. So this whole, British-French thing just kept going back and forth. Ooh la la. 121 years ago today, in 1896, the United States Supreme Court ruled that in Plessy versus Ferguson that the separate but equal doctrine is constitutional. Yeah, we make some decisions in our lifetime that we often regret. And that's certainly one of those. 37 years ago today, in 1980, as we mentioned, 8:32 a.m., Mount St. Helens erupted here in Washington. It killed, that's one thing we forget to mention too, it killed 57 people, caused $3 billion, that's with a B, $3 billion in damage, as they had been watching and waiting for months leading up to that. I remember watching the news every night on King 5 and Como and Cairo TV in Seattle. The seismologists and the geologists and everybody down there watching and watching. That's why they got this camera footage, because it had been bumbling and rumbling and stumbling for quite some time before the actual eruption on this day 37 years ago. Birthdays. Got a few birthdays here today. 1920, Pope St. John Paul II was born. He passed away back in 2005. So, happy birthday. Do you say happy birthday to someone who's no longer around? I guess you do. Also, Reggie Jackson, Mr. October, was born on this date 71 years ago. He's 71 years old today. American baseball player and sportscaster, and Mr. October, Reggie Jackson. I think that Reggie's spelled incorrectly there. Should be.
No, I don't know.
It's okay. It's all right. That Kat's not a baseball person. It's. There's some people that were not Yankee fans and not Oakland A fans that would say, yeah, it's Raggy Jackson. Also celebrating a birthday today is actress and comedian and very intelligent lady Tina Fey. She was the first ever female writer on Saturday Night, head writer for Saturday Night Live. Tina Fey is 47. Interesting, if you have not seen it, Netflix has a series with David Letterman, My Next Guest, and Tina Fey is his latest next guest on Netflix. So if you want to do a little search for that, you can find out more about Tina Fey. Happy birthday to Tina. Happy birthday to you too if you're having a birthday. I got to say happy birthday to my sister Sonia. She is having a birthday tomorrow, May 19th, as I mentioned when we were getting ready for her birthday party back 37 years ago. Mom was baking a cake at the time when Mount St. Helens erupted, and we're like, oh, Mom put too much baking soda in the cake or something like that. But happy birthday to my sister Sonia. It is 38 minutes past the hour. Everybody's entitled to Mike Magnotti's opinion. That's coming up next. We also have Steve Hare standing by with the latest from the News Center with an interview with another candidate here declaring themselves eligible for the upcoming primary. That's all to come here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for this final Friday, 18th of May, 2018. We'll have more right after this.
Thursday night, hockey night on the NCW Life Channel. It all begins at 7 o'clock with a call of the Wild and Clarkie's Corner. Then it's non-stop hockey action with the voice of the Wild, Arch Ecker. Join us as the Wild battle the rest of the BCHL. Thursday night is hockey night on the NCW Life channel.
Hi everyone, Brent. Hey, don't mind, we're just making a commercial here, Randall. You're okay. Hi everyone, Brent here. You're gonna love this. When you see this, come down and see us behind Nissan. I can do it. I can do it. The all-new 2018 Nissan. That's done, I'm done. We can't do it. Come down and see us at Town Nissan behind Costco in East Wenatchee. Better performance, better.
Walk and Roll Wenatchee's Asian Express is fast, fresh food. Wenatchee Roll's new Poke Hawaiian Fresh Salad Bar is the best. Fresh greens, fresh seafood, and handmade sauces. You know what you want. At Walk and Roll, create your own style meal. Hot off the line chicken, beef, and veggie plates. Lunch or dinner to match your appetite. Fresh sushi, hot entrees, Poke Fresh Salad Bar. It's new. It's Walk and Roll Wenatchee, fast, fresh food your way. Located on 5th and Mission.
Yamaha ATVs and side-by-side vehicles are proven off-road. Designed, engineered, and tested in the real world, they provide the best balance of off-road capability, comfort, and confidence, delivering performance that is truly proven off-road.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnati, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, I do a lot of marriage and relationship therapy, and lots of couples come to counseling because they have problems with communication. Well, what I find is what they call communication is really just trying to convince their partner, I'm right. Now, that's human nature, okay? I want to be right, and I want to have other people admit that I'm right, but I tell you, if being right means proving someone else to be wrong or just putting down someone that you say you love and care for, then being right can be a cold, lonely place to be. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnati, and that's my opinion.
Lakeland Mailboxes is a small place with a lot to offer. Job one is shipping and receiving from A to Z. They pack it, they label it, they ship it. But did you know we also offer notary service, online computer access, legal forms, copies, greeting cards, and of course, mailboxes. Chelan Mailboxes, everything you need in one small package.
When you call Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, you get 35 years of experience and customer service in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's friendly staff strongly believe in repairing before replacing and service all major brands of HVAC units. Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning is your local, independent, trained comfort specialists, proudly serving all of North Central Washington. Call 884-6444 today.
I definitely recommend them for new floors.
They made it so easy.
It looks like a whole new house.
Great service, great prices.
Want a recommendation before you buy new carpets or floors? Don't take our word for it, just listen to our customers.
And they guarantee their work for life.
Flooring America, where friends send friends. Select pet-friendly, kid-friendly, oops-friendly carpet and floors are on sale now.
Again, I'm Steve Hare for NCW Life News. It's filing week for those potential candidates who'd like to file for public office. Among the many candidates filing here in Chelan County for a position would be Kyle Mott, local attorney who's seeking election to the position 2 district court judge that is being retired now by Nancy Harmon. Welcome to the program, Kyle.
Thank you for having me, Steve.
Well, this is a big jump for you, moving from as a defense attorney here locally to the bench. Let's talk about that first of all, and why you decided to run.
Well, in law school, I externed for a district court judge, a federal district court judge down in the Central District of California, Judge Andy Guilford, and I was just completely impressed by the way he handled themselves and approached cases. And I thought, you know, someday that's something that I want to do. And then I came to Chelan County, and I ended up law clerking for the Superior Court judges here. At the time, it was Judge Small, Judge Nakata, and Judge Allen. A couple of those retired now. But that further alerted me to the fact that that was a position that I wanted to go for at some point, a judgeship. And now working in district court, I like the caseload, I like the subject matter, and I decided, you know, now is as good a time as any.
Well, Kyle, I want to learn more about your experience and background, education, and so forth, but let's provide maybe a little primer to our viewers on NCW Live TV now about the difference between Superior Court and District Court. Now, you're seeking a position on the District Court bench. What's the difference?
The difference is the Superior Courts are courts of general jurisdiction, meaning they can hear all cases and controversies. District courts are courts of limited jurisdiction, so at least in Washington, they hear misdemeanors and gross misdemeanors, name changes, anti-harassment matters, infractions, and civil matters where the amount of controversy is less than $100,000.
Whenever I think of district court, I think of traffic court. You know, that's where you go to take care of traffic tickets and parking tickets and that type of thing.
That is part of it. Yeah, there are mitigation hearings and then contested hearings where people can try and show that they did not do the infraction that they're accused of committing.
That's interesting. Yeah. Let's talk about your background. First of all, your education.
Well, I'm actually from East Wenatchee. I graduated from Eastmont High School, and after that, I spent 1 year at University of Puget Sound. Wasn't my cup of tea. Great school, but not mine. And so I went to Gonzaga after that. Absolutely loved it there. Had a few years off before going to law school, and then I went to law school at Chapman University down in Orange, California. In Orange County, yeah. The city of Orange in Orange County.
Right,
so,
yeah, I'm very familiar with that area, having come from Southern California myself.
Well, yeah, you would know.
But anyway, you went to Gonzaga University.
I did, the Adam Morrison years.
Eastmont grad.
Yes.
Okay. You've worked as an extern, you say? Now, what function does an extern?
An extern, I think it's probably just a made-up term. Recently, it's more or less an internship, but you get college credit for it. In my case, it was law school credits. So you're not paid for it, but it's part of the educational experience.
Okay, let's talk about moving from one side of the bar to the other. Working as a defense attorney, obviously there's a big difference.
There's a difference.
A huge difference.
Yeah, there's very much a difference there, but it's a leap that, you know, I know the subject matter. I work with clients on a daily basis. I know the troubles and the impact that these hearings and outcomes can have on them. So I think I'd be uniquely positioned to be able to consider those things when resolving matters where there is discretion.
Well, you know, the court's also seen as a major source of revenue, I know, for Chelan County as well. The district court is also in that situation. Caseloads in Chelan County have been growing, as I understand, too. What are your thoughts on that, the caseload and the burden that carries with it?
There is a burden of being efficient, that's for sure, because a calendar starts at 1:30 in the afternoon, and I was there until 5 o'clock yesterday, and so were my clients that were there at 1:30 as well. So you just wait for your case to be called. And there's a burden on the prosecutor, the defense, and the judge to make sure things move swiftly, but also giving every case its due and not to lose sight of that just for efficiency purposes. I actually spoke to Judge Harmon, I believe it was Monday after work, and she said caseloads in district court are actually down about 25% than they were, I forget how long ago she said, but I think when she started, so about 12 years ago. They've gone down a little bit, but it's still full dockets. And
are there any differences in the way that you sentence people in district court versus superior court?
In terms of, well, times are definitely different, because Superior Court, being felony matters, those are punishable by a year or more. A district court maximum punishment for any matter is 364 days and up to a $5,000 fine. And some of there's Department of Corrections sentencing conditions in Superior Court. In District Court, we have a probation department through the county that helps offenders with treatment providers and making sure that they're meeting their conditions.
I know there are a lot of legal issues out there that are very controversial around the country right now. I know that you're under some constraints, though, in terms of what you can discuss, right?
That is correct. Being a judicial candidate, we're bound by the judicial canon set out by the Washington State Supreme Court. And part of that is we're not able to discuss anything that might appear before the court in any sort of way, as that would potentially alert the public to any sort of biases that should not be there. The purpose of a judge is to be completely impartial, and you don't want to come across as having a predisposed thought on a matter.
Well, that issue has popped up occasionally, because I think that politically speaking, we hear a lot these days, especially from Congress, about the notion that there's too much legislating from the bench. Can you comment on that, and what are your thoughts on it?
I know that is a concern. Not so much.
Court.
I was going to say not so much at the district court level, but the judge is supposed to interpret and apply the laws that are given by Congress. There is what they call common law, where a judge makes decisions that aren't necessarily encoded in the law anywhere, but they're arrived at by applying previous case law and the laws that are at least apply to the subject. Sometimes judges are accused of overreaching in terms of furthering their own agendas or thoughts on a matter, and that's stuff you see in well, obviously there's thoughts of the Supreme Court and a heavily divided Supreme Court. That's because each side kind of has their own thoughts, and you might look to the appointing president for those kind of, if it's a Democratic president, you might have a more left-leaning judge, so those judges might tend to view contested matters a certain way if there's a little bit of leniency there in terms of interpretation.
Okay. I know that as a judicial candidate, you are not affiliated with any particular party, but how would you describe yourself? As conservative, liberal, or just how would you describe yourself?
I think, and that's correct, it's a nonpartisan position, so I'm not a Republican or Democrat or anything like that, but I think a lot of people in my generation, and it's a generation that's moving into positions of more influence and jobs and owners of companies, I think a lot of us tend to take a more moderate track towards things. The news is very polarizing in how they report, not saying local news, but I mean at national levels. I think my generation is pretty good at being able to filter out some of that noise and kind of arrive at our own opinions on matters, and generally that falls somewhere in the middle on these issues.
Okay. Anything you'd like to add before we let you go here? Kyle Mott, again, is running as a judicial candidate for Chelan County District Court, position 2. That's the position that's being retired by Nancy Harmon. So is there anything else about your candidacy or yourself that you'd like to share with our viewers on NCW Live?
Well, I'd just like to ask the viewers for their vote in this upcoming election. We're running kind of a grassroots campaign, if you will. A lot of money can be thrown into these sort of elections, and we're trying to be smart about our expenditures and signage, things like that. But I think my main point is, I have a varied background. I've done some civil work through Ogden Murphy Wallace here locally and the Lacey Kane law firm. I clerked for judges in Superior Court and extern down in Central District of California. And I think these experiences provide me with a kind of a broad base of knowledge. And right now, you know, I'm a defense attorney, a public defender, and the previous 3 judges in Chelan County District Court have all been prosecutors. Retiring Judge Judith McCauley in Douglas County is a prosecutor, a former prosecutor, and her appointed replacement, Judge Bigger, is also a prosecutor. And these are great people, but I think that there is a need for some balance in background in the local judiciary, and I'd ask for your vote to help us provide that.
Thank you very much for providing us some time with you this morning, and good luck in your candidacy and going forward.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Kyle Mott joining us on NCW Live. I'm Steve Hare.
I wish we had something cool for the kids to do this summer. I feel like we've just done it all.
Have you heard about the 100 Days of Summer at the Rack? The kids can take a dive with swim team, challenge themselves with karate and junior workouts. It's games galore playing tennis and pickleball. No need to choose. They can try it all with the Rack Summer Multi-Sport Camps. There's fun for you too. Get fit with group fitness or work on that tan by the pool. The Rack has something for the whole family. Find all the details at wrac.org and do your 100 Days of Summer at the Rack, where we play every day.
Thanks for joining us here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, along with Steve Hare, Eric Grandstrom filling in for Dan Kuntz here this morning as we're closing in on the end of another week of broadcast excellence here from Studio A. See, Dan does the numbers, I do the letters. Here on the NCW Live channel. The forecast for the weekend going to be cloudy and rainy, especially today as you look out the weather window. Kat, let's go ahead and go around the weather windows again here. I think I just saw a raindrop, in fact, falling on our camera there at the cross camera. Yeah, raindrops falling on our head. It's going to be rainy today, a high temperature about 65 degrees. 90% chance of showers as we go around to camera 2 here this morning. Raining there, raining in Orondo. Looks like it's still showers. I can see, does that look like dimples on the water? Yeah, in the foreground there from Orondo Rock as we look towards Orondo. A little excitement for Orondo residents the other night with that practice fire by the local volunteer fire department.
Live structure fire training there,
yeah. Camera 3 as we go up high to the Lake Wenatchee area, and looks like rain falling there as well.
You know what? This is pretty nice because after the pyrotechnic display last night, it's always good to get a little moisture afterwards.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was the good news about that lightning storm. We had quite a few lightning strikes here in the Wenatchee Valley.
You know Gordon Edgar?
Yeah.
On Facebook, he had some pictures yesterday in the Withrow area of a possible funnel cloud forming in that area yesterday. Yeah.
So. Well, it's interesting. I live up by the airport, and the clouds were just kind of swirling.
Yeah.
And you had the upper level clouds, and then those lower level clouds were kind of circling around each other and smashing into each other. And
well, our NCW Live forecaster Grant Olson was telling me it was really shaping up to be perfect conditions for a possible tornado.
Yeah. So. And here's Monument. Actually, you know, it's pleasant. I mean, we've got temperatures, around 60 degrees and some light rain falling. And it's just, you can walk outside, there's no wind really to speak of. So
I'm always a little reluctant to editorialize on the weather because I'm always stepping on some farmer's toes, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I think everybody would like the rain this time of year. Your wheat growers, your orchardists, everybody will welcome the rain this time of year. The weekend forecast, Saturday, we're looking at showers. Maybe some sun breaks by late Sunday, 78 for the high on Sunday. Kat, did you get that video pulled up? Okay, let's real quick. This is earlier this morning. Andrew Hansen sent us this video on Facebook. This is up the Malaga-Alcoa Highway out towards the Coloccum Pass Road. So he's coming into work this morning, and you can see the torrential downpours. This is up by that Star Ranch on the Malaga-Alcoa Highway here. And they've got some cones out by the road there. Of course, this is where that fire was last year.
That's right.
And of course, the deluge over the top of not a lot of vegetation there going to cause some problems as far as mud and debris and water across the roadway. So just be careful out there if you're traveling around north central Washington
Could be a little
this
slick.
weekend. So you ready for the weekend?
Oh, I'm ready for the weekend. Always are.
Yeah.
Second weekend of the Wenatchee Valley Farmers Market.
Farmers Market this weekend.
Pybus.
A lot going on at Pybus. There's the STEM showcase happening there tomorrow, the science, technology, engineering,
cool.
and math. It is really cool. It starts at 9 o'clock. I'll be out there getting some camera work done for us so we can have a little bit of that for Monday morning right here on Wake Up Wenatchee.
By the way, coming up a little bit later on our news, we're going to tell you about all the good news for local FFA kids scoring really high at the recent convention. So.
Okay, sounds good. What else is going on this weekend? Preakness this weekend.
That's right.
What's the horse of the favorite horse?
Justified.
Justified. Okay.
Yeah.
That's going to do it for Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Thanks for joining us, and be sure and watch the news tonight here on the NCW Life Channel. Have a great weekend.